really become the definition of fabulous in WWE, and she doesn't need to be suffering as much as what she has been. And so many women have fallen into the category of having suffered from being in programs with people they've been trying to push as managers, valets. And here's another issue that I think that is really being overshadowed here in all this. The days of managers and valets are over. I mean, this is not 1997 anymore, and the days of Sonny and Sable have long surpassed us in wrestling. And it's not about being a manager or a valet. It's being about being a successful talent in WWE as a wrestler, someone who is in the ring night in and night out, 360 out of 365 days of the calendar year. It's not about being a manager and a valet, and because those days have long surpassed us in wrestling, I think we need to be focusing on creating the next champion in both the Raw and SmackDown women's divisions respectively. You have everything happening for Bayley and Charlotte. Why isn't something happening in the way of a Carmella-Alexa Bliss feud? That would be something different because we've never seen it before. We may have seen it teased on NXT. We may have seen a scattered match between Carmella and Alexa Bliss, but never in a full-throttle feud, and they've never gone full throttle with something like Carmella versus Alexa Bliss. They're always going back to Alexa Bliss versus Naomi because of the success that we saw from it last year, spanning off last year's success, or something in the way of Nikki Bella and Natalya. It's two feuds promoting a reality show, or what's happening in the division with a champion and a contender with the same 4 or 5 women having the responsibility of carrying the show. And it's a huge responsibility when you have the pressure being put on the same 4 or 5 women as you have the same 4 or 5 males from 2004 up to at least 2016 happening all the time. It doesn't need to be happening, and something more promising can be happening for both divisions on Raw and SmackDown. And be it that all the attention now seems to be revolving about what's going on with Bayley and Charlotte from the Royal Rumble, spinning off that, I think that more attention needs to be given, the spotlight needs to be given to someone just as promising in the way of a Carmella. And you're not really having any purpose by going the way of having Carmella and James Ellsworth in this program, which a lot of people are losing interest in, and losing interest in very quickly. If more people were getting interested in what's happening with James Ellsworth and Carmella and being entertained in the way of it being funny and being very unpredictable, I would accept it more. I would come to terms with the fact that we are faced with the next superstar being created, neither that of a James Ellsworth or a Carmella, but that's not what we're faced with here. We're faced with more fans being as frustrated as what I am from all this than what are being entertained by it. And when you're coming away from it being very frustrated and being entertained, rather, there is something wrong. And that really should open up the eyes of WWE Creative and WWE as a company and say, we have to do something here in the way of, getting fans' attention on something more than James Ellsworth and Carmella, because it's going nowhere rather than going somewhere, and that doesn't need to be happening so early here in 2017. Another thing to be highlighted here is it's so early in 2017, and this may sound like I'm drawing a conclusion way too soon before James Ellsworth and Carmella's storyline goes anywhere, but who can really blame me here? It's so early in 2017. You would expect to see James Ellsworth being pushed for the championship and be more entertaining than what he is, and you would have thought that Carmella would have been up for the championship or would have won the SmackDown Live Women's Championship at this point in her career, because she's more than deserving of having had that championship, that strap being put on her. And I will say this for the record, she is more than deserving of this opportunity and should have been champion long before now. The idea of her being number one contender should have long been an afterthought at this point, and she should have been champion by now here in 2017. A new fresh champion is what SmackDown Live needs. We are seeing it in Alexa Bliss with everything happening with Mickie James. The interest is being lost very quickly in that storyline. It could have done without Mickie James. My frustration is lying with both what's happening with Alexa Bliss and Mickie James, what's happening with reality TV on SmackDown Live, because the focus of Total Divas seems to be given to SmackDown. They have that responsibility now that it's a live show more than ever. And we have what's happening with James Ellsworth and Carmella. It's either you're frustrated with this or that on SmackDown Live these days, and you wonder how in the hell are they defeating Raw week in and week out with the ratings. It's not because of what's happening with the women, I can tell you that, and it could be what's happening with the women, but I think WWE Creative somewhere lost their sense of direction somewhere down the road, and it needs to be picked up again, and we need things corrected on SmackDown Live before it is too late. And one of those issues that needs to be corrected and is more than deserving being corrected is what's happening with that of a James Ellsworth and Carmella. Something that I can say for the record on my radio show, over this microphone, over the airwaves, that I am really frustrated with and displeased with, because there's something more that can be done with someone with Carmella who is more than deserving of a push in 2017 with WWE. If it was 1998, I would accept it, but it's 2017 now. A new year is upon us, and the time of change, I think, is really upon us, and we need to get with that wave of change. We really need to ride the wave of change in WWE more than just dodging it all the time. And I think that riding the wave of change can begin with that of a Carmella. It's just WWE keep putting it off and putting it off and putting it off, something that I am more than extremely frustrated about. Get in on the conversation of all this. Let me know what you think on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Google+, some of the ways you can get in on my show's conversation. I would really be appreciative of it if you let me know what your thoughts are on all that's happening. We are in the fallout of the 2017 Royal Rumble. Everybody talking about that and issues like Carmella and James Ellsworth, which there is room always for correction in WWE. Let me know what you think of it all, and I will archive this video for you on my YouTube channel. Until next week, I'm your host, Jonathan Clarke, and I will talk to you again very soon. Like what you hear? Tell us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube.
I wake up tonight feeling paper thin and I'm paper white. You say just come back to bed. Voice sounds strange, but I soon forget. And your sad blue eyes like mine, full of pity now, but I don't know why. The light dims without regret, so now you're nothing more than a silhouette. But just hold quick, you're fading right in a cold trick of the light. I'm just so sick, I thought you might be here, but you did disappear. Now I wake up and I forget that you were gone. A phantom limb is all that I'm hanging on. So don't stop, no stopping yet. What if the one true love's the only one that you get? And you've been wishing but you don't know how to stay. And I've been broken but I'm better every day. So don't stop, no stopping yet. What if the one true love's the only one that you get? One love, one love, you get 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 lost and gone so fast. You get me every time, but I live with that. I might do this to myself, only made it worse, but I just can't help. You know I get so attached. Listen every day till the dark is back. Now I pine for phantom pain. It's the only time that I see your face. So just hold quick, you're fading right in a cold trick of the light. I'm just so sick, I thought you might be here, but you did disappear. Now I wake up and I forget that you were gone. A phantom limb is all that I'm hanging on. So don't stop, no stopping yet. What if the one true love's the only one that you get? And you've been wishing but you don't know how to stay. And I've been broken but I'm better every day. So don't stop, no stopping yet. What if the one true love's the only one that you get? One love, one love, you get one love, one love, you get one love, one love, you get one love, one love, you get. What if you still feel me too still? What if I was still away and taking care? What if I wake up tonight and you were real? What if we could find a way to try to heal? What if there's no stopping us yet? What if the one true love's the only one that you get? What if there was still a reason not to go? What if there was still a little bit of hope? So don't stop, don't stop it yet. What if the one true love's the only one that you get? One love, one love, you get one love, one love, you get one love, one love, one love, you get one love, one love, one love, you get 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 one love, one love, you get.
Don't go anywhere. HEW Entertainment Radio will return with the latest news, music, interviews, discussion, and Jonathan Clarke next.
When something takes place in the world of professional wrestling, you know where to go. WrestleZone.com. WrestleZone.com. Covering all the latest breaking news daily. Interactive forums where you can chat with thousands of other wrestling fans. Exclusive editorials and audio features by some of today's top wrestling superstars. Exclusive video content, weekly polls, live play-by-play coverage of every WWE and TNA pay-per-view. And now, featuring WrestleZone Radio, live with news, in-depth discussions, debates, and interviews with wrestling's top stars, past and present. When you think wrestling, think WrestleZone. WrestleZone.com.
He considers himself God's gift to wrestling, and millions of his faithful agree. With nearly 4 hours of footage and exclusive commentary and matches, this DVD chronicles Daniels' rise from Chicago's Windy City Wrestling to the Asylum in Nashville, and finally to the top of TNA. TNA Home Video presents Heaven Sent, Hell Bound, the best of Christopher Daniels. Available at most retailers and TNAWrestling.com.
Hey you right there, the one listening to this show. While you're tuning into this broadcast or when you read the news on WrestleZone.com, are you forming opinions of it all? Or do you just agree with everything you see and hear? If you actually have some sort of afterthought, which, by the way, is normal, we want to know what it is. There are thousands of wrestling fans just like you that simply can't hold their thoughts in either, and they let it all out in our interactive forums. You have a voice, so use it. Simply visit forums.WrestleZone.com. Don't just be active, be reactive in the official WrestleZone.com forums. For all the latest in mixed martial arts, be sure to visit WrestleZone's sister site, SureDog.com. Complete with daily news, exclusive video, interviews, live radio broadcast, interactive forums, and the very popular Fight Finder with bios and